And good morning, good afternoon or good evening to you, depending on when you're watching or listening to this edition of Hypnosis Week Live. Yes, it's me again, Alex William Smith, better known to many of you as Jonathan Royal, the British bad boy of hypnosis, and it's my pleasure to have another amazing guest on this show, a gentleman who is a legend in the world of magic and illusion. I mean that kind of David Copperfield, Paul Daniels wise, as opposed to any devil worshipping magic or anything like that. He's also a legend in the psychic world of fortune telling, tarot reading, numerology and related areas, as well as in the world of hypnosis, being somewhat controversial for the fact that he openly tells you that hypnosis is bunkum. He's also, yes, so many more strings to his bow. He's also the world's, well, in my opinion, the world's number one pitch artist. When if you don't know what that is, he will explain very shortly. So please welcome to the show, all the way joining us all the way from Canada, Mr. Mark Lewis. How are you, Mark?
I'm nearly dead, but apart from that, I'm all right. I've got a cold.
Oh.
I've got the virus or something. Anyway, how are you, Jonathan?
I'm great, thanks.
Now, what do I call you? Alex, Jonathan? You've got so many bloody names.
I know. Well, Alex by birth, so yeah, let's just go with Alex, eh?
All right, Alex.
You know, you've got a lot to answer for, you have. I didn't realise this until in recent years when we connected on Facebook, but...
my hearing's not very good. You said I've got a lot of what?
A lot of things to answer for.
Oh, have I? Oh, dear.
Yeah, don't worry, in a good way. It's just...
That's thinking for me. Yeah.
Back in 1979, I was buying magic tricks with the money I was earning on the Golden Mile in Blackpool, helping my dad at the Paul Daniels Magic Exhibition. And it's only in recent years that I realised that you had the magic concession in the Paul Daniels Magic Museum.
That's right. I met your father there.
So I must have got my first Svengali deck off you back in 1979.
Yeah, was it 1979? Yeah, okay. It probably was around about then, and I remember your father was quite a well-known clown, and I think he was out in the front of the museum trying to, he was blagging people to come into the Paul Daniels place on the microphone. He was talking to people in the street and through the microphone, and getting them to come in the museum, because it wasn't terribly busy in there, I remember. It was, and I remember Paul Daniels himself came along to speak to the people in the street and bring them in, but he didn't do it. It was a bit embarrassing. He didn't actually bring anybody in. Your father brought more people in than Paul Daniels did, but it was a long time ago.
It is, but it's weird that many years later, I didn't know, obviously I was 4 and I didn't know who I was buying Svengali cards off, but then many years later, in 1991, before I turned 16, so I was still 15, I applied for a job with Marvin's Magic, a kids magic company here in England, and lo and behold, I got the job, and then a guy shows up called Adam Harms. I can't even bloody say
Adam Harms. He's a doctor. He's a doctor of something or other, doctor of economics. He's intellectually a university professor now.
Wow.
We'll just destroy his career now.
But the thing is, you'd taught him all your insider tricks for pitching, and he passed quite a few of them on to me.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I made the most money that year out of all the stores for Marvin's, and I put that down to what Adam showed me, which I then found out later was because he'd been taught by you. So it's really a weird, small world.
At the time, he told me about you. He said, Mum sent to hire demonstrators. He said, I found a 16-year-old kid in up north, he says, and it was pretty good. So he mentioned you at the time, didn't mention your name, but it must have been you.
Yeah, bloody hell. It's small world. So, I mean, for anyone who's listening to this, I've got to tell you, if you go on Mark's website, marklewisentertainment.com, the link will also be below the video. On there, he has a book called The Long and the Short of It. And you might think, well, hang on, when you go and look at it, that's great. It tells you how to demonstrate this wonderful trick deck of cards called the Svengali deck, which you can see Mark doing on videos. If you just go on YouTube and type in Mark Lewis Magician, you will see Mark demonstrating this wonderful deck of playing cards, and that book teaches you how to make money selling it. And I know this audio podcast is aimed at a hypnotist, but I honestly would recommend you, even as hypnotists, to get a copy of that book, because it's learning about the psychology of pitching. I believe can make you a better performer if you're a stage hypnotist, or a better therapist if you're a hypnotherapist, or if you're a psychic consultant. Well, that's going to be my next question to Mark, because he's done it all over the years. But yeah, I mean, you were practically a household name in Ireland, weren't you, as a psychic?
Oh yeah, everybody knew me in Ireland. Massive newspaper coverage. Because of the psychic work I was doing. I'm not sure how as much as you had quite a bit of newspaper coverage yourself, actually. But yeah, in Ireland I got very well known because I did deals with the newspapers to do horoscopes, and I forget what the deal was. Well, I had this telephone line. I had this, I don't know what they call it, automated, I had a telephone line, a psychic telephone line, but it was activated. I didn't have to be there. I didn't speak to anybody personally. They'd phone up and my boss would come on saying, I'm going to read your palm now. Name one of these lines, headline, heartline, fate line. So they'd name a line. And then I said, is it a short line, long line? It was all voice activated. And then they described what kind of hand they had. And then my voice would come on and, read their palm without me even being there.
Bloody
so
hell.
I did a tarot line and an I Ching line. And the deal was with the newspapers that I could advertise for free in the newspapers if, providing they let me advertise, I would do their horoscopes. I would write the horoscopes and they would they would advertise me. So it worked out quite well. And then, unfortunately, when I got to Canada, they were sending me checks from Ireland, actually.
All right.
When I was in Canada for a while. And then one day I got a bit fed up with the I got a bit fed up with the bloody the team of doing the horoscopes. So I think I hired Adam to do it. And he was useless. You say, oh, you better do the garden today, he said, things like that. So they lost interest in the horoscopes after. I got Adam to do it. But yeah, I do a lot of psychic readings even now. A lot of I studied palmistry and the tarot cards, and it's very you get to know people, and something happened when you're a pitcher and a grafter. I better explain what pitch art is. Someone that sells a magic pitcher and someone that sells magic, demonstrates, gets a crowd, and especially the Svengali deck. And pitching or grafters, we call them grafters in Britain. Over here they call them pitching for some stupid reason. So people like that, I'm losing my voice now, I'm nearly dead. People like that have a very, I don't know what the word is, aggressive attitude to the customers, and you become very cynical and very ruthless and hard. But then when I started to do psychic work, the opposite happened. It softened me up.
All right.
Because you're dealing with one person. When you're dealing with one person face to face, listening to all their troubles and all their sadness, it softens you up. When you got a crowd in front of you, you don't care about like, the people there. You don't. In fact, you dislike them. But when it's just one person in front of you, you become a bit more human. So it made me a bit more human being a psychic. So there it is. Hope I don't lose my voice. Go on.
When you're doing psychic readings, do you find that for some people it's like a form of therapy because they're offloading and stuff?
Yes, it certainly can be. I'm not a therapist, and I tell them that, but I don't give advice because I don't know the situation. I know some of what the situation is because when you're a psychic, it's like looking through frosted glass. You get glimpses, but you don't see everything. John, I'm going to have to get. I don't know if you can keep talking for about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I've got to get some water.
Okay.
I'll go and get some water.
All right. Well, Mark goes and gets some water. Let me just explain that Mark, as a psychic, entertainer, fortune teller, does tarot reading, palmistry and whatnot, and he has a complete training course in that, which I thoroughly recommend. As a stage hypnotist, he probably had the first package home study course on the market, with videos and audios and books and the whole shebang, telling you how to get your stage hypnosis show on the road and how to actually do it. And that's a course that you can get from Mark. Plus he has the pitching stuff and all that. Now I'll tell you his websites now while he gets his glass of water. His main website is marklewisentertainment.com. If you go on amazon.com or .co.uk and type in Mark Lewis Magician or type in Mark Lewis Hypnotist or Mark Lewis Psychic, you will get his books that are in Kindle and printed format. And if you go on a site library.com, which is LYBRARY.com, and again put in the name Mark Lewis, you'll find his books on how to do psychic readings, his books on how to do a hypnosis show, and his books on pitching, the psychology of which and selling, the techniques. He's back. I feel are invaluable to therapists as well, because when you learn how to persuade people to part with their money, believe me, that in the grand scheme of things is actually a lot harder than persuading them to just stop biting the fingernails, for example. Anyway, I believe Mark may have got his water and be back with us.
I've got water, and you've held the fort very well, and I've taken some apple cider vinegar to clear my throat. I've got reflux. I don't recommend getting old, by the way. You get all sorts of things happening to you, but at the moment I'm still above ground. Well, I forget what the hell we were talking about. Being psychic.
Yeah, do you think it's a bit like therapy for some people?
Yeah, it can be. It can be therapeutic. I've helped thousands of people doing psychic readings. I've done thousands of readings, and I think that I hope that most of them have been valuable to the people that I've helped. But I once read. See, when I studied a book on counselling. When I started in the psychic business. It's called, it's a very good book for anyone who does any counselling in a non-professional way. It's called On Becoming a Counsellor by Eugene Kennedy. And this is a very good book for someone who is not necessarily a professional therapist, but somebody who counsels people, like a minister or a social worker, or somebody who counsels people, but they're not professional psychiatrists or psychologists. I don't think the author was actually envisaging that it'd be a good book for psychics, but anyway, I find it useful. And one little bit of advice he said was, a little help is a lot of help. If you can help just a little bit, that can be a lot of help to somebody. So I do the best I can. I don't encourage my clients to keep coming to me. They can become dependent. They have to take charge of their own lives. I have to show them how they can do that. You know, if you're a good... Somebody once said to me that the best psychics are the ones that have had hard lives, because they can show some empathy, you see. So it's very hard to explain about psychics. It's a very mysterious business, but I've done it since 1987. Adam was with me when it happened, actually. Adam, I said to Adam, but we had this office in Dublin, and we were broke, we had no money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Adam, I've got an idea. I'll put an ad in the newspaper and become a psychic. So he's mocking me. He says, oh, you won't get one client. You won't even get a single client. So I put the ad in the paper. Oh God, the phone never stopped ringing. I said, famous Scottish psychic arriving, and I didn't know anything about being a psychic. I had no power whatsoever. Well, so half the readings were crap, and half the readings were quite good. It was awful. So I realized that I better study this a bit more, because there was definitely a demand for it. And I got good at it. I started to study it properly instead of trying to fake it. I was trying to fake it in the beginning. But I didn't. After a while, strange things happen. If you do it a long time, you don't need to fake it anymore. You sense things from people. People that come into the... I tell you, it's kind of weird. People that come into the psychic business, the crooked ones end up being real, you know, after a while. They start becoming real. But the ones who really believe in it start becoming crooked after a while. So they meet in the middle. But now what I do is very genuine, and I believe 100% in the power of tarot cards. You can look at the way it works is, I can't really explain it. It's something called conceptual blending. One card can mean, if I lay out a spread of cards, that spread can either apply to Mother Teresa or Adolf Hitler. It's not so much the cards that come up at random, it's the vibes you get from the person, which you translate into the tarot cards. And as you get a bit deep, but I've done a lot with psychic readings, and I'm doing it this new way now, which I've only just... It's ironic that I'm having trouble, you know, talking to you on the computer here, but I just started doing it, I don't know what they call it, online readings.
All right.
Through people send me their questions, and I'm sending them, they send me money, and then I do, and I don't understand technology, but somehow I'm able to put it on a file, a sound file, and send them a 30-minute reading. You know, takes me an hour. It's a half an hour reading. Takes me an hour to figure it out, but they get it in the end. So that's the you know, it's a very interesting business. But
so it's interesting that you just said that you believe in the power of the tarot. Now, I want to dig a bit deeper, because you released, which I know, as I've said to people, if they contact you via your website, although it's not actually on the website, you do have a DVD training course available for psychic readings and stuff.
That was done for magicians many years ago. I don't put it. I don't. It's not. That was something I put years ago. It's not relevant now. I have taught. I did do a seminar for international magic in London in 2010. You know, but if you look up, there's a guy who had just been only the last 3 weeks. He's a tarot reader, and I'm finding he explains why the tarot works.
Okay.
His name is Vincent Patisky, and he explains why. It's nothing mystical, it's quite logical when you think about it. You get one card called the Hanged Man. I'll just give you an example. and you can make up your own meanings. You don't have to go by standard meanings.
Mm-hmm.
The hangman represents, to me, sacrifice. In order to get something, you've got to give something up. No matter what you give up, it's what you get. Only you can decide. Only the client decides. Well, it doesn't matter who the person is. There is going to be some sacrifice in their life, and you just got to figure out what that sacrifice is. And to get an intuition, I always read the palm first, because after reading the palm, I kind of know about the person. I'm just going to take some water now. 1 second.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, I didn't really realize my throat was so bad. Yeah, so that's how it works. Is if you look at Vincent Petisky on the internet, he's a very good tarot reader, and he explains why it actually works. And it's for real. It's not a fake thing. You know, magicians all think fakery and you know, that stuff. I sort of believe in palmistry. There's no evidence for it. There's no proof of it. I've just noticed through doing thousands of readings, there are similarities in the hands. If somebody's got lots of lines on their hand, they do tend to be sensitive and intuitive. If they've got very few lines, they're skeptical down to you know, if you press on somebody's thumb and it resists, you know, they're stubborn. So there may well be something in it. Tarot cards, I'm sure there's something in it, but it's very hard to explain. It would take, you know, I'm not very good at explaining it, but
I find it interesting that you say that you genuinely believe there's something in it, and yet you'll openly state, which I agree with you entirely, that stage hypnosis is bunkum.
Well, that's a load of bollocks. Excuse me for the bad words, but
that's fine.
No, I'll tell you how I found out that stage hypnosis was a load of codswallop, right? I was stupid enough to believe in it. Do you remember, because you were in Blackpool, did you ever see it? I bet you remember Lord Payne.
Lord Payne, I saw him just literally in the last sort of 2 years he did at the Horseshoe Show Bar.
Right, so you saw him at near the end of his...
Yeah.
Excuse me. The Blackpool Magicians Club, they put on a magic show for the Ladies Club in Blackpool.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Ladies Club insisted they wanted Lord Payne to be on the bill. Well, they didn't like the Magic Club had fallen out with Lord Payne. They didn't like Lord Payne. So the Magic they said, no, he's not a member of the club. He's not a member of the club. We don't want him. So the Ladies Club said, we don't have Lord Payne. We don't want the show.
Right.
So they were forced to hire Lord Payne to top the bill at this magic show for the Ladies Club. So I went along with a friend of mine, and the first time I'd ever seen a hypnotist like that, and I thought, oh my God, this is unbelievable. It's real. How does this happen? So I got interested in hypnotism, and I thought it was real. I was stupid, and I tried to learn it from all of the Gill's books, and I couldn't do it. It wouldn't bleed and work.
Mm-hmm.
I kept trying, and there was a very famous hypnotist in Ireland called Barry Sinclair. He's still working, actually. He must be about 80 years old now. So must be in his late 70s or 80 years old.
Right.
He's still doing the odd gig, you know. And he was very well known in Ireland as a stage hypnotist. So I was watching him, and my friend Terry was sitting next to me, and Terry was muttering under it, this is a load of crap, this is baloney. I said, no, it's real. So Terry says, what? He's whispering to the people. And he's not whispering, his lips are not moving. So Terry says, look at his Adam's apple. I looked at his Adam's apple, which is moving up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So he's faking it, he's whispering, telling me what to do. So I got a bit suspicious of it. And then one day, have you ever heard of Paul Golden?
Yes. Please do relate your tales, because I've read one of the stories you've told about Paul before.
Well, Paul Golden's a legendary stage hypnotist in Ireland. He's passed away now. His clinic is still there. He's got a clinic. His daughter runs it now. hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
Smoking, weight loss, and all that stuff. So he, excuse me, I first heard of Paul Golden when I was about 16 years old. My uncle went to medical school with him. My uncle said to me, "I know you're interested in magic. Have you ever heard of Paul Golden?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, I went to medical school with him. He started to be a doctor, but he decided he didn't want to be a doctor. And he didn't want to be a doctor because he didn't like the fact that drugs were used in medical work. So he became a hypnotist, very controversial. He had to skip, I think he had to skip England actually and go to Ireland because people were looking for him. He was a bit of a character. So anyway, I got to meet Paul Golden. And I said, "My uncle told me about you years ago." And he said, "Oh yes, Louis, I remember your uncle. He used to be in my uncle's house." So I got to know Paul Golden, and at the time I got quite famous as a psychic in Ireland. So Paul Golden says to me one day, "I hope you don't believe in this psychic stuff," he says. "As soon as you do, you're dead." Right. So I didn't argue with him. I didn't say, well, I did believe in it. I just said, but then I saw an opportunity. I said, "Well, tell me about the hypnotism." I said, because I was getting suspicious of it. I said, "What about the hypnotism that you do? Do you believe that? Are you dead if you believe that?" She went all shifty. He was like, wouldn't look me in the eye. He looked at his receptionist outside the door. He closed the door so his receptionist wouldn't hear. And he said to me, he said, I was number one for 30 years as a stage hypnotist. He says, in that 30 years, I never hypnotized a single person.
Nice.
I said, "Well, I said, how do you get them to do all that stuff?" And he said, "You manipulate them, don't you?" And that's a secret. And I've been manipulating them ever since. So I don't really, the book which explains it is a book called, they call it Hypnosis, by Robert Baker. And that's a whole book debunking hypnosis.
Yeah.
It just says that it, and here's another thing. There's a very famous hypnotist of years ago called Henry Blythe.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some water. I'm going, the voice is going. Oh, I should have timed this interview better when my voice was working. Henry Blythe was an old con man, stage hypnotist of the old school, you see. And I met him at he's a nice old gentleman. He was quite well known and quite an established hypnotist in his day. Anyway, his son became a hypnotherapist. His son did not go on the stage, but became Peter Blythe. So this Peter Blythe wrote a book on hypnotherapy.
Yes.
And he said, and he devoted 3 or 4, he always devoted 4 lines to it. He said, my readers will think I'm stark raving mad, but I don't believe in hypnosis. He said, I'm writing a book on hypnotherapy, but I don't actually believe in hypnosis. And then he went on writing the whole book about hypnosis. So it's a controversial thing. Some people are state theorists, some people are non-state theorists. I've noticed in Britain and Ireland, the hypnotists there don't believe in it. Over here, they seem to believe in it, or they pretend they do.
Well, I think they just pretend because, a lot of stage hypnotists of the past especially also were pioneers in hypnotherapy, e.g. Ormond McGill. And Ormond McGill went out and hypnotherapists, he was going to their conferences, teaching them, had books out galore, but I met Ormond McGill.
I spoke to him on the phone once.
Supreme Magic Convention in the mid to late 80s, and Ormond McGill was there, and I asked him about stage hypnosis, and he categorically told me that it is all nonsense. And
I've suspected that for years. Somebody once told me that he gave a lecture at maybe in the same place. at some convention, he gave a lecture convention, and somebody come up to him afterwards saying, "Do you really believe all that?" He said, "No." You know, so I've always been suspicious. He was an old showman. He didn't really believe in it.
Yeah,
You know?
and yeah, he wrote books making out that he did, bizarrely. Because you spoke to Martin Breeze once, didn't you? And he mentioned Gil Boyne.
That's right. I said, I'm talking to Martin Breeze, and he said, I mentioned hypnosis, and he said, Martin said, "Gil Boyne was sitting in that chair you're sitting in now, and told me that hypnosis was a load of bunkum." And this is a famous, Gil Boyne is like a very established name in hypnosis.
Yeah.
And he said it was a load of twang too. So, I believe it's very good. By the way, I do believe, even though I don't believe in the reality of hypnosis, I do believe it's a boon to mankind. It is a very good thing for therapy. It works. Maybe the placebo effect, I don't know what's making it work, but it does work. It does stop people smoking, and it does help people lose weight. And I find that I've done a little bit of hypnotherapy myself, not much of it, but I find it works. You know, I wish it would work for my throat at the moment. 1 second.
Okay.
So yeah, but hypnotism is a great show where you can put us like it's got all the production, all the production aspects of an illusion show, and there's no props. The props are people, you know. So the first time I learned how to do it at the psychic fairs. You know, the first time I did it, I went to a psychic fair and they allowed me to lecture at a psychic fair. So I thought, I'll try the hypnosis here. Paul Golden told me the way you learn hypnotism is you practice to the chairs and tables at home. He said, and then you eventually have to find a live audience. So so the very first lecture I did at the psychic fair, it worked perfectly. I was more amazed than the audience. I couldn't believe what was happening. And I thought, oh my God, they're really doing this crap. Why? So I thought, this is wonderful. I'm a stage hypnotist now. Then I did another lecture, and it died a death. It didn't work. Then I did it again. It didn't work. I did it 7 or 8 times, and 7 or 8 lectures, and each time it flopped. It wouldn't work.
Oh.
If it hadn't worked the first time, I would have given up. Because it worked the first time, I knew I could do it because it worked the first time. So, but then I gradually got to learn the ins and outs of it a bit. I practiced at the psychic fairs every weekend. It was very bad for business because it scared all my psychic clients away. They wouldn't want readings after me. You know, and all the bloody psychics started complaining about me as well. They said, "Oh, he's hypnotizing people to come and have a reading with them." I try to tell them it's scaring them away. They don't want to. They don't want to actually have a reading with me after I do the hypnotism. But that's where I learned it. I learned after a while that I could do it, and I got good at it after practicing it every weekend at the psychic fair. It took me a long while before I got the hang of it, though. But I got it in the end, you know.
Now, obviously, people can go on library.com or Amazon and get your complete stage hypnosis training course with videos and training manual.
Keep away from Amazon. I don't make any money out of Amazon.
All right, go to library.com then, people.
Yeah, library. If you contact me direct, I can send. I've got a hypnosis course, and from memory, I think it's $150 to get the hard copy. But if you want to just download it from library, it's saving me a lot of hassle. I don't make as much money, but at my age, I can do without all the hassle. So you can just order it from library. It's about $99 or something. Or contact me direct. I can exert myself to send it to you. The hard copy DVDs. It's a great hypnosis. It's the best training in the industry. Because I would say that, wouldn't I? But
well, you would say that, but I will say to people listening, because I mean, obviously I sell stuff as well, but I will say to people listening, have several different teachers if you're going to get into stage hypnosis, and make one of them mark because as you'll realise, if you go and buy, one thing you should buy straight away is his book, The Lives of a Showman, which is it's an autobiography, essentially, of his experiences as a stage hypnotist, as a magical entertainer, as a pitchman, grafter, selling magic products and novelties, and as a psychic as well, and all how those all interweave. And wow, there are the stories in there that you would, if you saw them in a film, you wouldn't believe. But I swear down that, having been brought up in a kind of weird background circusy family myself, I can tell you this kind of stuff happens, and it's eye-opening and educational, to say the least.
Well, one cheeky bastard, young magician, said, "Oh, the letter V in lives should be left out, omitted." I thought it was funny. He said it should be called The Lives of the Showman, but everything in it is true, and there's witnesses to the event. Well, your friend, what's his name, Adam, was a witness there when.
Yeah.
Adam stood on the top of the. You have to read it in the book, but I had some displeased clients. When I first started doing psychic readings, when the clients opened, I got the power, there were some dissatisfied customers.
Right.
And they asked Adam for the money back. He didn't want to give me any. So he's trying to signal to me, like phoning me. I had a client in there, they stood on the roof of a building, throwing stones at the window to attract my attention. So anyway, it's a crazy story, but there's a witness to that. Adam was the witness to that. But that was before I got good at being psychic later.
I've got to ask you, because having read your autobiography, which obviously I recommend people listening to get, it's clear to me that you have a life where you've quite literally lived on your wits.
Oh yes.
Showing up in places with no money, no nothing, and then building a business with the skills you've got, particularly in pitching and or grafting, as some people also.
I had a lot of nerve in those days. I don't have the same amount of nerve now. When you're younger, you got a bit of nerve. And I remember going to Canada once with $50 in my pocket.
Bloody hell.
It was insane. All I had was $50, and I thought I can get to work tomorrow. I know a place I can get to work. It's amazing they let me in. If they'd have asked how much money I had on me. Then I had to book a hotel, bluff the hotel with a credit card. Then I phone up my room, "Excuse me, your credit card has been declined." But it's called ducking and diving in the business, and I managed to make some money, and I found a place to work the next day. So
for the people listening, tell us, how did you get into demonstrating, in layman's terms, for people who haven't quite got the lingo of grafting or pitching, demonstrating these magic tricks and novelties to the public and selling them for cash? What got you into that?
Ron McMillan, International Magic.
All right.
One day, they had, when I was young, 1,000 years ago, they used to have a sort of a magic club called the Vampire Club, and
that was Max Andrews, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. But I think he was dead by the time I went there. But I think it was started by Max Andrews. And they put on shows as well in this pub. And I saw Ron McMillan. I never met Ron McMillan before, but I knew who he was. And he looked very wealthy. He had this very expensive coat on. And he was actually not as wealthy as he looked at the time, but he looked pretty, his business was struggling. He just started his business then. And I heard him say, and I was out of work. I had no work. I had to getting normal jobs and getting fired from them and all the time. And Ron McMillan, Val Andrews was there. Okay, you know who that is. So,
yeah.
So I heard Ron McMillan say to What I heard him say to Val Andrews, I'll give you a third. He said, I'll see you at the schoolboys with a Svengali deck, Val, and I'll pay you a third. So it worked out, he wants these demonstrators, and he's paying schoolboys. This is the Schoolboys and Girls exhibition, which was coming up, in a few days.
Right.
So it registered in my brain. I went home that night and I thought, he must want somebody to sell Svengali decks. Maybe he'll give me a job. I don't know. So I went round to his magic studio and I said, I can do card tricks. I can sell Svengali decks for you at the Schoolboys exhibition. So he said, okay, and he gives me a job. So the first day, I remember, this is many years ago, the car was 7 shillings and sixpence then. I'd taken in £15. I don't know how many decks that was, but £15, and I got £5 commission for the day.
For people listening, let's point out that we're recording this on the 5th of February 2020, but you're going back to what year era was this?
God knows, but must be bloody 50 years ago, I only think.
Right, so five of them was a lot of money, guys and girls listening.
50 years ago, more than 50 years ago actually. I'm 75 years old now. I must have been about 18 or 19, I don't know, something like that. That's a long time ago.
So it was a lot of money then, a fiver?
Yeah, it was. And, for a day's work, I think I was getting about £10 a week in my normal jobs. So I was getting £5, like a 7-day week, 6-day week. Getting about 10 quid or something a week was an average wage.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I get £5 in one day. And then I do this, and I'm earning this kind of money every day. And he would give a bonus. If you took over £25 in one day, he would give you an extra pound as a bonus.
Yeah.
I thought, let me just get this water.
All right.
Oh, God. So I made a lot of money that week. I forget how long it was on. The Schoolboys and Girls exhibition. And I'd actually seen Joe Stullard at the same exhibition a few years selling Svengali decks a few years before, because I was on a school trip.
All right.
So anyway, so it was very successful. So Ron McMillan said, we've got another one coming up, the Boys at the Holiday and Travel exhibition. So I did that one. That was a disaster. Nobody was in, the place was empty, and nobody was in the bloody place. But I made more money playing cards than I did actually, and they all thought I was cheating, and I was actually playing honestly. I was getting good cards by accident. They all thought I was cheating. The grafters, playing cards with the grafters. And then I heard, and I've always regretted it to this day, somebody told me that, that at another exhibition, see, I was at Olympia, I think, and there's another exhibition in Oscar, a trade show, and there's a magician there called Eddie Tulloch, a famous trade show magician.
Yeah.
And it was the only time he'd ever been to England, actually. And he was working a trade show for a company. And I was tempted to go down and see him, but I couldn't really because I was stuck at the Holiday and Travel exhibition. To this day I wish I'd gone to see him, because I do trade shows myself now, and I could have entered that field a lot earlier.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I found out that grafting, sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't so good. But then after a while I went to Ron McMillan quite a few times a year. I went to Belfast for him, Belfast and Cardiff and Birmingham and different places I worked. And then I decided, I went on my own. I bought the cars from Ron McMillan and found found places by myself to work.
Mm-hmm.
Department stores and exhibitions and places. And then I went to Blackpool. I went to do the Preston Ideal Homes exhibition. And a friend of mine, by the name of Michael Vine, who is actually Darren Brown's manager nowadays.
Yeah.
Michael was a big shot in show business and television production company, and he was a very good friend of mine at that time. So Michael was selling Svengali in Blackpool, in Preston's near Blackpool. So I went to visit Michael on Central Pier. He was dying to death with a Svengali deck, actually. But I went to visit him. Oh, I like this place, Blackpool. I thought Blackpool is wonderful. A lot of people hate Blackpool. I love Blackpool. And I thought, I'm moving to this place. I moved to Blackpool, and I worked there for many years. And then I went to Ireland, and then I went to I started traveling Canada, and that's the story, basically.
Well, over those years and those travels, you clearly, through frontline experience of grafting to the public, have developed systems and techniques that consistently work for you, because I know you've got a wonderful, people contact you, you've not just got the book, the long and the short of it, and the wonder mails, but you have actually got the, they can contact you and ask about your video training set on pitching.
Yeah, I do have video stuff on pitching. If anybody wants to contact me about that, I can give them information on it. You know.
Now I've watched that, and I can honestly say it teaches a lot of the psychology in it and how to gee up the crowd to feel good and want the stuff. Now you're kind of almost hypnotising them when you're pitching, aren't you?
There is some similarity. I've often thought that there's kind of a similarity in it's very hard to explain, because when you do it for years, you get an instinct. You don't let anybody move in the crowd. They blink. You get if somebody scratches their ear, you're suddenly alert to it. And you don't want to scratch their ear. It's hard to explain. And then you have to do what we call come to the bat. At the end of the demonstration, you have to try to get the money out of them. And, they do it differently in America. Over here, they do the grafting, America especially. They do it differently. They stand up in a big rostrum with microphones. It's all palaver. That's not the way not the British way of doing things.
No.
Although I think I think some people in Britain are doing it the American way now, which is stupid, but still, they use a microphone. The way all the grafters used to do it in England when I was there was they'd be ground level, same level as the customers. Nobody used a microphone. It was considered almost an amateurish to use a microphone, and it would work. A microphone can scare people away, actually, because especially at the beginning of the demonstration. But no, it's a long. There's not many people. There's not many people doing the pitching, because it's a very hard way. It's very tough, very hard way of making a living. Actually, it's not easy. You know, it's very hard work doing demonstration after demonstration. People that start with it, they've never done it before. They love it for about a week or two. Then the novelty wears off. They're dealing with difficult customers. They're saying the same thing day after day, and after a while, the whole novelty wears off.
Yeah, I've got to admit, when I was doing Marvin's Magic, after the first week or so, I started thinking, oh, for Christ's sake, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And it wasn't until a few years ago I told Marvin Burglas how I'd managed to make him so much money, because I got fed up of doing the pitching so much, so I put an ad in. I put a press release together, rather, and I sent it to the local newspaper saying that this local child magician who only just turned 16, only just left school, was doing a magic show on the hour, every hour, in Debenhams in Bolton. And they put all these stories out, so I literally just did a 15-minute dem on the hour till 1/4 the hour. And the other 3/4 of the hour, I'd go off to the cafe and have a brew or something.
How did Marvin react to that when you told him?
with a look of shock and horror, and then I said to him, but do remember, Marvin, you don't need to have a heart attack. Remember, I made you more money than all the other stores. And then he just laughed and went, well, yeah, fair enough.
It's lucky you told him all these years later.
Yeah.
Well, Marvin, he'd be highly disapproving of all of them. Marvin is a little bit prim and proper with his business operation, but I used to have an exchange program. I would send my demonstrators over to him, and he would send his people over to me in Ireland. It was like an exchange. I would send Adam over there to help out Marvin. So Adam would run, proper business, shall we say. Then Marvin would send his people over to me to improper business. But it worked, I don't quite do it, so it worked out, we learned from each other, I suppose. But he had a very successful. But I knew his father, David Burglass, taught me a bit of magic when I was a kid,
All right.
I spent an evening with him, and he taught me. There was a member of Parliament who knew me, Lord Janner, and he called up David Burglass, and we went to. He said, "There's a young man I know, and he needs to learn a bit of magic, present magic." So David came along, and he taught me a bit of magic and coached me a little bit. I heard that weird noise, but that's what happened there. But I'm really a card magician. That's what I am. People think I'm a pitchman, I'm a psychic, I'm a this, I'm a that. I'm actually a card magician. That's the thing I do best. I do card tricks. And
most recently, you've just released a new book, haven't you? I can't even say the bloody word. You say it, Mark.
The annotated Wild Card Magic. At the moment, it's an ebook on library.com. It's done very well, and it's got a fantastic foreword by Harry Lorraine. Wow. Harry Lorraine doesn't normally write forewords for anybody, but he did it for me, and it's been a big seller. And eventually, I'll make it into a hard. Not everybody likes ebooks, including me, by the way. So eventually, I'll make it into a hard copy book. But it's been actually selling very well right now.
Excellent. I mean, the Railroad to Card Magic is one that, sorry, my computer keeps popping something up. Go away. That loads of us had when we were young, and there's a lot of magicians overlook the quality of the material in there.
It's fantastic. 50% of my repertoire comes from the Railroad to Card Magic. But it's not the trick. It's never the trick anyway. The trick's only a good magician does not present magic. He presents himself doing magic. You are the magic. If you've got the personality of a dial tone and you get no kind of charisma about you, then you may as well not bother. Some people argue with me. They say the trick in and of itself should be strong enough to get reaction. I don't believe that. You need more than just a trick. You've got to present. You've got to have the presentation. You've got to be a bit of a character of some kind. You can be a serious character, or you can be a dramatic character. You can be funny. You can have a light-hearted, but you've got to have some kind of presentation. It's not the trick alone won't do it. I've always believed that. Trick is secondary. So it doesn't matter what trick you do. Joseph Downinger said, nail-through finger will suffice if you have some way of magnetizing and hypnotizing that audience. And I've always believed that. So
I think that applies also, Lord, to everything that you do, in the sense of stage hypnosis, psychic stuff, hypnosis, the magic. All of them, I would argue, are more about to do, well, for them to be really good, is more about presentation than the actual secret or technique, aren't they?
It's important. It's the most important part of the thing. But not everybody believes in it. I was just reading something today from an old book by, I forget now, but the author was quoting Charles Waugh. This book was written in the 1930s, who said, he said, I don't really believe in this making magic entertaining thing. He says, making magic magical is entertainment enough, this guy said. But I think no, I think you've got to have a little bit of, you've got to make it entertaining. I was arguing with somebody on the genie form, a very famous close-up magician, who said, I don't try to entertain people. I just present the magic and make it. Well, I think you do have to entertain people. The magic's not enough. You need more.
Yeah.
Some of them, on the other hand, I won't mention names, but some magicians over-present. They go to the other extreme. Most of them under-present. They're a bit boring and they under-present. There's others who talk too much, especially Americans. American close-up magicians, they're over the top. You know, they talk, that can actually, what's the word, overshadow the magic when you do too much of that. So you've got to have the right balance. You don't want to be boring, monotonous, but you don't want to be over the top either, too excitable. I've always said a good magician is like a window. A window just lets the light in, doesn't draw attention to itself. It doesn't say, hey everybody, I'm a great window. It just lets the light in, so it's the same thing. A magician doesn't have to draw attention to himself. He should just let the light in, but be entertaining enough that people want to let the light in, you know. So that's my philosophy on it.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, if you were starting out today, Mark, from scratch, and you didn't have all the experience behind you that you have, but right. you did have the knowledge in the back of your head. You just instinctively knew. What I'm getting at is, if you were starting from scratch today, what would you be most drawn towards doing? The pitching, the psychic stuff, hypnosis, what?
Getting a proper job, I think. Now, let me be serious. Well, I do so many different things because I'm not a businessman. Some people are good at marketing, and especially nowadays, it's all done on computer. That's beyond me. It's completely beyond me. So I've always had to live by my wits. I've been forced to do things. I've been forced to become a psychic. I've been forced to be a bloody grafter. I think I like doing the best. Oddly enough, it's probably the most profitable thing. People won't believe this, but children's entertainers are the ones that make the most money in magic, generally speaking.
Okay.
People wouldn't believe it if I say that, but there's regular work. They're always busy. I think your father did a lot of kids shows, didn't he? Your dad.
He did. Well, yeah, he did indeed. When my mum wanted us to settle down rather than carry on travelling around in the trailer on the circus, he then went into doing school shows, nurseries, birthday parties and all that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so if somebody doesn't want to travel, I'm not moved about a bit, but if somebody wants to just stay in one place, kids shows are the best option. It doesn't stop them doing other shows, but you'd be surprised how much money successful children's entertainers earn. People don't realize it, but they do quite well. It's very enjoyable because the kids love you straight away. They love magic. It's a bit different working those awful bloody working men's clubs. You know, everybody's drunk, nobody's paying attention to you. Kids love magic, and they're not an easy audience. You've got to know how to handle them. But I think I like that. I don't know what it's. I have to wonder what if I started again. I'll tell you what Trevor Lewis once said to me. Mm-hmm. I met him on a train station by accident, so he talked about magic. Now I did not realize that he was not a full-time professional magician, you know. I always met, he worked on the boats as an engineer, the ferries from Ireland to England. That was his normal job. But he did a lot of semi-professional work, did a lot of shows. Probably did as many shows as a full-time professional. Mm-hmm. He said lousy cake. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. You know, he was basically saying, you know, it's great as a part-time business, but to do it full-time, no, there are exceptions. I'm not telling anybody don't become a professional magician, but it's not a reliable way. It's precarious. Vernon says precarious. And some people do succeed, but they're in the minority. Probably, I don't know, I would say maybe 20%, or maybe even exaggerate. I say 20% of people that do it professionally make a decent living.
Mm.
Good. Only 20%. That means 80% don't. So they have to do other things, you know. And people have to choose. They have to evaluate themselves. Have I got the persistence, the determination, they're willing to take the chance that I might be one of the 80%. And they have to evaluate their talent. And not just the talent, their business ability, their stamina, their ability to handle what's the word, adversity.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. It's not easy. I envy the amateur magician who does it for, not even interested in money. They've got regular jobs, or regular way of making a living at least, providing they like it. And magic is just fun for them. As soon as money enters the picture, the fun starts to go out of it. You're worried about travel, you're worried about contracts, am I going to get paid? Is it going to die? It's tougher. I've always said, my throat's going again, hang on a minute. Oh.
Don't worry. Yeah, I know. The thing is, though, as hard as show business can be and as hard as self-employment can be, it just doesn't strike me, having read your autobiography, that you could really work for anyone else.
Well, I couldn't have, no, I would have to be self-employed. If I didn't do what I'm doing now, I'd have to have a business of some kind. I can't work for other people. I mean, I did that when I haven't worked for anybody for, well, that's, God, must be 50 years. I have not. No, I've never had a proper job. I left school, I think about 17 then. I think, no, it must have been about, no, for over, I've not had a real job for nearly 60 years. So self-employed is the best angle. You do something on your own, definitely. I'm just saying show business, all businesses are tough. Show business is particularly tough because it's precarious, you know. You can build it up, then you can disappear very quickly. It's up and down. And I don't believe there's a lot of bragging going on amongst magicians, how much they make and how much they earn. And after it's a load of bollocks, you know. No, Jay Marshall said once, the way you can work out how much money an entertainer makes, a magician, is you take whatever fee they quote you, you divide by 2, and subtract $50, you'll get the real amount of money they're making, he said.
Yeah.
And then, you know, but the most lucrative thing that I do is the trade shows. Companies hire me to go on their booth at trade shows, and tile. It's very similar to grafting, actually, similar to pitching. But I've got to take my one. My voice is going again.
Don't worry, our time's coming to a close, unfortunately, because these are, you know, normally just around an hour. I'm going to ask you the question to end with that I ask everyone that I've interviewed.
All right.
Now, obviously, you've got a background in magic and the psychic stuff as well. But
what did you say just now?
You've got a background in hypnosis and the psychic stuff as well. and magic and all that. But this final question is kind of more directly aimed at wannabe stage hypnotists.
Right.
Now, we've already told them go to library.com or contact you via marklewisentertainment.com. Look into your course on that. But what would you, if you had to give 2 or 3 top quick tips to, other than the obvious of go and get your hypnosis course, being one of them, to anyone who is wanting to break into doing stage hypnosis shows, what would your top tips be?
Well, first one is do not believe in hypnosis is a load of bunkum. That's the first thing. They call it Hypnosis by Robert Baker. That'll explain the whole thing. And you'll be able to do it a lot better if you believe, if you know what's going on. And when you know that nothing's going on, you don't panic if it's not working. You don't panic, say abreaction, somebody's having there's no abreaction because nobody's hypnotized in the first place,
Yeah, so attention seeking.
So that's one tip. What a tip. Well, okay. Here's a good one. I once read in the 13 Steps to Mentalism an interview by Morris Fogel, who was a terrific mentalist, and he advised on what you do to get people on the stage. Now, because with hypnotism you need a lot of volunteers, and you can get a bit panicky if only 4 people come up or 3 people come up, His advice was invaluable to me. He said, you don't panic, you just keep talking, and you jolly them along a bit. You don't say things like, if I don't get any volunteers, I'm not doing the show, I can't do this. Never say that. He said, you just, I wish I had the book right in front of me now, but look up the interview by Morris Fogel in the 13 Steps to Mentalism. It's in the book test. I forget what number. Step something around the book tests. And he's interviewed, and at the end of the interview, he explains about getting volunteers on stage and how you never panic. And I've never had, even when they're slow coming up, I never panic. I just keep talking friendly. And eventually you fill all the chairs, So for a beginner, that's good advice because a beginner might panic, but when he comes on the stage, what else do I just study. I learned most of it from Orman McGill. Get Orman McGill's books on it. There is one thing there is one very valuable tip I can give people on stage hypnosis. This is a bit controversial.
Oh, good.
Well, some stage hypnotists don't get annoyed with me when I say this. I don't give a stuff. I know I'm right. If you find that, especially if you're a beginner, if you're doing a show and it's not working, it just ain't working, nobody's going into a trance or pretending it's just not working, then what I do is this. I shouldn't really be explaining this to the whole wide world, but I'm nearly dead, so it doesn't matter. Little secret I use. I have an emergency method if they're not hypnotized, and it goes like this. I have little, like business cards, and on the blank side, it can be blank on both sides, these business cards, as long as it's blank on one side, And then, actually, it'd be good to have your printed for advertising purposes to have your stuff on one anyway. So, if it's not working, I wake them all up. And I say, we're going to try something now known as pyramiding hypnosis, which it always works better a second time. You can ask each of you, there's some wavy lines on this business card. I'm going to ask each of you to look at the wavy lines. Now give everybody the card. Everybody gets a business card. Especially the ones who are really resistant to hypnosis. Now stare at those wavy lines, Then I go into the induction again. but it's a much briefer induction. And this time, it's guaranteed to work 100%. Because on the business card, it says, I forget what the wording is, because I haven't used it for a while, but it said, oh, let's have some fun, we'll fool the audience, play along with it, just pretend. And then, it's amazing, all these people who didn't want to be hypnotized, suddenly they're now hypnotized. They start doing all the stupid stuff. And here's the weird thing, which has baffled me a little bit. It's my argument that there's no such thing in hypnosis. Because a lot of the time, they forget they've read that, they forgot they've read it. And they actually go into real hypnosis, however you define that. I still remember doing a show once for the police in Canada. And they weren't being hypnotized, so I did this thing. And then they all went under, you know. They all played along with it. A year later, they booked me again. And this cop, he comes to me before the show. He says, I can't believe what you did last year to me. He says, people took photographs of me doing all these things. He said, I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. But I was amazed that he was amazed, because I gave him the little cards and play along them. And I couldn't believe that he didn't realize, he couldn't remember, or maybe he went into hypnosis. And then another time, I did a show somewhere and I had to use those little cards. After the show, I'm walking along the street to the car, and I see in front of me a man and his girlfriend, and I could overhear them talking about the show. And he was saying, I was hypnotized, I really was. He did not tell them that I'd given him cards, he was a stooge. Yeah. So I was either lying to his girlfriend or really believed he'd gone under. Anyway, that's what you do for emergencies. Yeah. I'm not going to stand up there for an hour looking like an idiot. It doesn't work. I will use that. It's very rare. In the beginning I have to use it a bit. I hardly use it now. It's very rare. But I always keep those cards on me just in case of some difficulty. So there's some kind of show going on. But, you know, it's not really necessary anymore.
No, but great advice for those starting out. Cheers. So once again, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Underneath this video will be a link to marklewisentertainment.com and also a link to library.com. Between them you can get Mark's books, video trainings, and anything we mentioned that isn't listed there. Just fire him an email message, tell him what it is you want, and I'm sure Mark will sort you out with, a good deal. The more you buy, the cheaper it becomes, so to speak. The bigger the discount, the more you buy. Isn't that right, Mark?
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll have to discuss things. All right.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. You're an absolute legend, and thank you for, unknowing to me at the time, but through Adam Arms, giving me knowledge that helped set me on the path in this crazy business.
Adam's on Facebook, you know. Just thought I'd mention it.
All right.
You should look him up.
I will do, yeah.
Adam Harms.
Excellent. Nice one.
You're a distinguished professor now.
Yeah. How things change, eh? Thank you so much, Mark. Everyone else, please do tune in next week for another edition of Hypnosis Week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Click stop on that.